I love that intro. All right. So my name is Cari Orts. Lovingly, everyone at my campus calls me Techie Cari because when they have a tech problem or they have an idea they want to implement, they go to Techie Cari. So currently, my current roles are GT specialist, makerspace, captain. I made up the captain part. And then in the summer, I've turned into full-time Techie Cari mode, and I'm traveling all over the place sharing my knowledge and having lots of fun.
And fishing.
Of course. And so it's very tempting with this in the background. I don't think there's going to be a fishing trip this trip, but next week is in the books.
There's an academy down the street.
I know. I'll be there later.
You go grab a rod, go out to the pier. That's I'm probably going to be doing that tonight. I got my boys and my wife here is with me as well. So we always make a family trip out of these Galveston trips. So that's what we'll be doing later. So you're in full Techie Cari mode right now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Digital art.
Yes.
What is it? Okay. I'm in an elevator with you. You have 30 seconds before those doors open and I get off at my floor. What do you mean by digital art? Go for it.
So digital art is essentially kiddos playing around with different applications, different websites, and creating art. And that's just the bottom line. And secretively, we're teaching them tech skills, but they're making art. That's all it is. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be fancy, or it can be super fancy. So it can be low tech, it can be high tech, it can be multiple apps smashed together. It's just kiddos getting comfortable with tech, but making art.
You couldn't have put it any more perfect. But we're not. But if they're having fun, then they're not learning, Cari.
Oh, that's not my motto.
Oh, okay. Talk to us about that. Just because they're having fun, is there content
100%. So I'm all about fun. I know y'all probably know me from all my flamingos and wearing pink all the time and all that good stuff. But I want my kiddos to have fun, so I'm always going to mask a lesson as a fun thing. And then I sneak in later and I say, oh, by the way, guys, y'all just learned how to, code, or y'all just learned how to use Google Sheets in a whole new way.
You are sneaky.
Yes.
You are sneaky. I like the way you weave that in.
But I think all good teachers do that. I mean, you're never going to say, hey, guys, today we're going to learn how to condition format inside of Google Sheets. You're never going to lead with that. I mean, you're always going to lead with, hey, guys, I'm going to show you this cool trick where you can make pixel art that you see on your video games.
There you go. So you sneak it in. It's kind of like my food analogies always come out.
Yep.
It's kind of like that cheese whiz on the broccoli. Mm-hmm. Right? You're sneaking in the good, delicious, good for you content behind cheese whiz.
And it's all about the kiddos and getting them excited. So you're always going to do that, I think, as a good educator. You're always going to lead with something fun. That's how you're going to hook them in. And then later on, you can just be like, hey, by the way, guys, y'all just made a website and you didn't know it. And they're like, oh, I did. So
that's awesome. Okay. Now, did you already do your session today?
Oh, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. See you there.
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I might see you there. That's great. What are some of the tools, resources, strategies that you incorporate, some low-hanging fruit for maybe the listeners and viewers? Hey, I've always wanted to do something with art, or, we're going to have some time next week, but I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure how to do it. What is something that you can easily walk away with after listening to this?
Can I sneak in why I made this session?
Hey, Cari, why did you make this session?
So, do you have cool people that work across the hallway from you?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
Okay, so
I would be lying.
So you're hanging out in the hallway in the morning before all the kiddos come, and you always have those fun conversations like, hey, have you ever thought about this, or you ever done this? And so I had a first-year teacher across the hallway teaching music and art. He was a music major that got to teach art. You know how that happens.
Yes.
And he's like, Cari, I need some ideas for technology because I really feel like I want to put technology in the art classroom. And I was like, okay, start with this one thing. And that one thing was taking a Google slide presentation and taking pictures of their artwork after they finished. Super simple. They literally hold up their Chromebooks, take the picture. Slide one. It's my first piece of artwork for the school year. And they just keep adding to that. Super simple, requires basically no tech skills. And then he made the older kids, and he started this with kindergartners all the way through fifth. And then the older kids, he was like, okay, type a description underneath. So I just said, hey, first week of school, second week of school, this is the low tech. You're just going to make a Google slide presentation, and the kids are going to take pictures of their artwork.
Okay, like a gallery, like their own personal gallery, if you want to call it
We
that.
officially called it the portfolio.
Okay, all right. As you're telling me this, the most techie part of it would be opening the camera app on the Chromebook, taking the picture, and knowing how to add it to my Google Drive or to my Google Slides after that.
I think the hardest part actually is hitting the allow button for the camera.
Oh, gosh. That's right.
You know how it is with adults, too.
I had that in the first session today. Absolutely, yes. So that's it doesn't get any more low-hanging fruit than that.
No, like, he had kindergartners doing it, and I was like, okay, you've conquered this. And he's like, what do we do next? And so that's how I slowly built this presentation. We just went through all these different websites, and we tried things. He tested things with kiddos that they liked, what they didn't like, and then we kind of rolled with it.
Okay. So this entire presentation that you're talking about kind of was birthed from those conversations at the beginning of the school day.
100%.
Wow. Okay. All right. What else do you got for us?
Okay.
So you've got the little portfolio going on with Chromebooks or iPads, and students are using those. Okay, so that teacher across the hall might be like, you know what, that was a great idea, Carrie. I appreciate it. Hey, I brought you a coffee. Thanks a lot. What else you got?
Okay, so it's called BOMO. I don't know.
BOMO?
BOMOMO.com.
Bomomo.
There you go.
Okay.
Sounds great. And it's just kids practicing with different pressure on their mouse and using different patterns and swooping around. And he told me, he was like, Carrie, 30 minutes later, we're still playing.
So it's pressure sensitive?
Pressure sensitive. It also has different spirals. And so you sneak in some science, you sneak in patterns, you sneak in all kinds of things that I can't even think right now. But he was like, I can't get the kids to stop using it.
Interesting. So BOMOMO. Bomomo. And kids can practice drawing techniques and things like that on a trackpad.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest complaints I get when we're doing anything. Like, for example, if I'm doing an EduProtocol or something with AutoDraw, which I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about a little bit later.
Don't worry.
One of the biggest complaints is I'm on my trackpad. It's very difficult for me to draw. If I had a mouse, it'd be great kind of thing. But that's interesting that with that Bomomo, you can actually get in there and it's pressure sensitive. Okay. All right.
And we have our kiddos K through first is iPads, and then they transition to Chromebooks in second. And that second grade group, they've done iPads for 2 years or maybe even 3 years. And so it was really important at the beginning of the school year that those second graders got in there with that trackpad on the Chromebook, figured out how to do everything, how to do the double click, the pressure and all that stuff. So it ended up being really beneficial to those second graders that have just kind of dove into the Chromebook world.
And it's perfect because by the time they hit third grade, there's a lot of assumptions that the kids already know how to use the Chromebook. And you still get kids who try to right click by clicking on the right side of the trackpad as opposed to the two-finger tap.
The Cobra.
The Cobra.
That's what I call it.
Oh, the Cobra. The fangs. I might have to do...
Steal it, please.
Viper. I might have to do the Viper or the rattlesnake.
Well, I like alliteration, so I went with Cobra Click.
The Cobra Click. I see it now. Okay. All right.
And then the next one I am in love with so much, and I'm going to do it in my session tomorrow, and it's called scrap coloring. So essentially you give the kiddos a white piece of paper and a black marker, and they are going to draw a design, and then guess what? Can you guess what happens when you upload it? No?
I can, but I think I'm thinking too much.
You might be thinking...
I'm overthinking.
So essentially it turns it into a digital coloring page.
Oh, look at that.
And so they can add all their colors, and more importantly, we want our kiddos to share what they're making. And so it gives them ability, it creates a link. So as a teacher, they do their just basic black and white coloring, drawing, and then I upload every single kiddo's link into Google Classroom or Seesaw, and now I have shared everybody's work. Everyone can view everyone's, and then I can be like, hey, did you want to color my page? And now you can color my page. And guess what? It's easily distributed. There's not a mess. There's not going to the copy machine and making 5,000 copies. It's all digital. They're there. And the cool thing about Seesaw is the parents can see those links
Yes,
too.
they can. Yes,
they can
can.
copy those links and send it to grandma and grandpa or aunt or uncle or whoever it may be. And so like there's that great sharing possibility that I think, you know, in the art room it kind of dies after, you know, they do it right there or gets thrown away or gets lost. But with this scrap coloring, it's all digital. We can share it. I can color it. And guess what? If I mess up, I hit the undo button and I can
Control-Z.
recolor it again.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the digital art, because I think a lot of our kiddos get afraid of like doing something and messing up and they have to start completely over. With digital art, it's just like an undo button a couple of times and then you can start over with no like erasing or like regret or anything like that.
Nothing permanent. Yeah. That can't be undone. That is pretty cool. So you're telling me that I can go to, what's the name of the site again?
Scrap coloring.
Scrap coloring. I could literally draw the outline of a flower.
Correct.
And it will take it and turn it into a coloring page. Mm-hmm. Can I print it?
100%. So.
Cari, you literally just opened up my world for the drive back to San Antonio. I'm already, you know, that hamster on the wheel? Oh, it's going right now.
There you go.
I don't know if it's going to be able to come off that wheel in time, though. Okay, all right. Hit us with more. Let's go for it.
All right, scrap coloring also has name coloring. So you throw in, you spell your name, and then you can fill in your name with different patterns. Do you know of any grade level that needs to practice spelling their name?
K through 12.
Yeah, spelling words. It doesn't just have to be names. It could be spelling words. It could be, at my campus, we do a lot with prefixes and suffixes and root words. So you could do a root word. Is that what they're called? Yeah, root word.
Root word.
Okay. And then they could fill in the text with what that word means. So like hydro, since we're by the water, they could fill it in with different things that represent water and all that good stuff.
So you know where my mind goes with that? Interpretations or visuals for a particular term, like imperialism. I'm thinking high school world cultures. The term imperialism, we can have the kids write it, and then within the letters, a bunch of representations of imperialism.
I love it. So vocabulary.
EBs, think about your EBs, your immersion bilingual students.
Yes.
Visual representation. Okay, see, I told you that once that hamster gets on the wheel.
I know.
Man, okay.
Yeah, that would be perfect for vocabulary words. And then you can also print those and share those digitally as well. Y'all could hang them in your room. You could post them wherever. So lots of opportunities there.
And you know, one of the things that as teachers, we kind of get overwhelmed at times, and there's so many ideas that you want to get out and so many things you want to do. But imagine if you had like a tool. Imagine if you had a tool like, like a magic school that would be able to take all those ideas that you might have and maybe curate them into a great list or something that you can now work off of. That's where my mind goes to.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right.
And then I think this is, a fan favorite right now is Canva.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, right?
Never heard of it.
Canva, I have kindergarten kiddos using Canva to create digital art, and luckily they have transitioned to it from Seesaw really easy, because Seesaw has a lot of similar buttons, the camera button's the same. I can't think of any more right now. But when I was helping a kindergarten classroom do this as well, the transition between the two is just crazy good. So, it was pretty much show the kiddos twice, and then the next day they were making stuff on their own in Canva, starting in kinder.
Wow.
The first thing that my kinder kiddos love to do is they're so animated and they love acting out things. And so we took a piece of their artwork from the art classroom. I literally have an example in front of me here, and it's a lion or a tiger sitting on a tree limb, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a kinder or first grade student, what do you think you would want to do if you could put yourself in that picture?
I'd put myself on top of that lion or that tiger.
100%.
Right. So
we had them take a picture with their camera on their iPad. We threw it into Canva, and then I said, if you were sitting on that tiger, what would you be looking like? And so literally we have a kiddo riding it like a bull. And so he's standing there riding it like a bull. He had his other friend take the picture with their iPad. They airdropped it to each other. They put it into Canva, and Canva literally has the best background remover in the business, I think.
It's intuitive. I have not found an image that it does it incorrectly with.
I have, but with their magic erase where you can touch it up,
Yeah.
it's money. So I've just taught the kids to take the pictures of themselves like on a kind of like in
Solid
the
surface
hallway,
kind of thing.
hallway where it's kind of, you know, pretty basic. Yeah. And so the kiddos would just look at their artwork that they had made throughout the year, take a picture, and I'd be like, where would you want to stand and what would you be doing in this scene? And so I had a little kid, Bentley here. She was standing next to a flamingo, and I said, well, what's going on in this picture? And she's like, oh, I made it a race, and the flamingo's racing. And I was like, okay, what would you be doing? She's like, holding a checkered flag. Well, we didn't have a checkered flag. So I said, okay, pretend like you're holding it. And then we went into Canva, and she threw a checkered flag in there.
So you're using those question stems. As you were talking through that, you know, I immediately went to GT. I immediately went to my EB population at our campuses. And you've got the scaffolds already kind of built in. You've got those non-text-based, trying to think of the word, artifacts, if you want to call them, that the kids are working with. And they're building a story.
Exactly. So then they
With
could
that
actually
creative piece.
they could actually take that artwork with them back to the classroom and write about it. Wouldn't that be
Or
crazy?
record a podcast about it.
Or they could record a podcast about it. Well, speaking of, I do have one of my kinder GT kiddos. So she did art, and we studied artists and all that good stuff. So she took a picture of the artwork, and I was like, well, how are you going to explain this to everyone that sees it? And so we just jumped into Canva. We did the record yourself with the video. She recorded herself talking about her artwork. She talked about who the art is based on, all that good stuff. And then we put it into a presentation into Canva. And then we shared it and made a QR code. And guess who got to have that QR code to send to everybody in her family?
Everyone.
Yeah.
That young lady.
Yes, I mean, and like, I think that's what like really excites me about digital art is the ability to share. And I know I said that earlier, but like our kiddos live in the YouTube age. Like everyone shares, everyone likes. And so if you know that you're about to share something with someone beyond your classroom, like your engagement and is going to go up to the ceiling, and you don't normally get that. So I think that's why it's so important to hone into that with kiddos, is sharing beyond the classroom.
Beyond the four walls. If I was to tell my students, hey guys, we're going to be writing a persuasive essay on, you know, one of these three topics that you're most passionate about, you're going to persuade me to think or act upon what you're talking about. But if I was to say, oh yeah, and by the way, campus admin is going to be looking at this, as well as a couple of members of the city council, they're going to put a different lens on it. They're going to be a little bit more critical on what they write, what they put out there, as opposed to just being myself and maybe a couple of peers.
100%. And, you know, and we invited their classmates to come and look at those videos. And so their classmates come down toting their iPads. And I'm like, hey guys, scan that QR code and see what comes up. And they're like, you're so fancy. I can't believe you did this. And I mean, it was super easy. And so, you know, I don't want people to think that you have to be super techie or you have to really know every like Canva has so much. I mean, like we can't even pretend to know that we know everything. Yeah. But like if you can hone in on a couple of things on Canva, you're going to be good to go.
Okay. What if I wanted to transport my art to a new place, Cari?
Super easy.
Oh my gosh.
Hit that share button.
Okay. Hitting that share button, going beyond those four walls, creating QR codes, tiny URLs, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And if you get stuck, just hit up Raina, magicschool.ai, hit up that Raina chatbot, and start getting those ideas going, ladies and gentlemen. Cari, can you hit us with maybe one more great digital art in the classroom content?
Okay, well, we just did this, and like I'm loving it, and like you could take it to so many other places. But I saw online that you could take confetti eggs, add paint to them, and make art. And so, like, what kid doesn't want to, like, smash a confetti egg, right?
Are you talking about, like, the hollowed out eggs, and instead of filling it with confetti, you fill it with paint?
Oh, no. You just poke a little hole in the confetti egg. That still has the confetti in it.
It still has the confetti in it.
Put a little bit of paint in. We did find out that you want to fill it, like, pretty full with the paint.
And you're talking about what kind of paint?
Whatever you have.
Okay.
I just went to the makerspace, like, what paint do we have? And we're using it. We used washable paint, obviously. We took off our shoes. And then the kiddos were like, well, how are we going to make the art? I said, I don't know. What are we going to do? And so they decided that they wanted to stand on a step stool and they wanted to drop it. And then I said, hey, but like, we're making digital art. And so here comes my buddy, and he's got an iPad, he's got a tripod, and he decides that we're not going to do a video, we're going to do slow-mo videos.
Oh, look at that.
And this was all kiddo initiated. I just said, hey, guys, we have paint and we have confetti eggs. Help me out. So we just laid a big piece of butcher paper on the ground. We positioned the iPad, had this really crazy angle, but it worked. Put it on slow-mo. And it was a really great team-building activity, too, because we had one person on the iPad. We had the kiddos dropping the confetti eggs. And so it was like, 1, 2, 3, go. And we just did a whole bunch of slow-mo videos of all of these eggs dropping and it creating these different paint patterns. We figured out that you kind of have a little push on the eggs. You couldn't just drop them. Yeah. We found out how much paint we needed. And then I let them dry. I threw some glue over them, cut them out, and put them on a canvas.
So you figured out, I guess, the volume of the egg.
Correct.
And that way you can kind of have the paints pre-measured if you wanted to do this again in cups ready to go with the correct volume to fill that egg. And then you figured out physics-wise the height and how much force needed to be exuded. Don't even know if that's a word.
I think it is. It sounds
good.
It
is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then you had the producer off to the side with the iPad going through making sure the settings were correct on the camera and everything.
Yes, and we had the safety supervisor, me, which I made the kiddos take their shoes off because I was like, I don't want paint on shoes.
Oh God, tracking it back in the classroom or
exactly.
back at the house, I could imagine that. Wow, that is pretty cool. I'm gonna have to. I'm taking that idea for sure.
Come to my session tomorrow. I've got a dozen cases of confetti eggs.
You actually brought confetti eggs?
Heck yeah!
Oh my gosh. Okay. Not the paint-filled ones, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Well, how can people connect with you to get more information and just add you to their professional learning network?
All right. So you can find me on Twitter/X or
Twix.
Face. Yeah, Twix. Ooh, I love that.
Carl Hooker.
I'm using that. I'm using that. Okay. Thanks, Carl. So Twitter and Facebook, I am at Techie Cari, and it's CARI. And then I also have a website, which is techiecari.com, where you can see where I'm presenting and see all the goodies. Instagram, that's all my fishing stuff. So I'm Fishing and Flamingos.
Fishing and Flamingos, that's right.
If you want to check out all the fishing and outdoor adventures.
Okay. I have 2 last questions for you, I guess. Where did you eat last night?
Oh, it was so good.
Where'd you go?
Okay, I think it was called Bayou. So, oh man, I should have looked before we got here.
Was it here on the strip?
No, it was downtown.
Then now we're talking.
No.
Now we're talking.
No, I did my research because I knew
Okay.
I was going to be talking to you. So I'll get you the official name. But we had the char grilled oysters.
Oh.
Oh, and they give you that bread, that French bread. And
Crusty?
Yes, but like soaked in butter. And then it was like Romano cheese and more butter in those oysters. Like, I want to go back tonight.
Okay. All right. We had agave life, Mexican food, towards the downtown area as well. Very good. Very, very good. We found it on accident. My youngest son pulled it up because we were around there. Didn't even see it. Passed by it, parked. We're going back tonight.
Oh,
We're
okay.
going back tonight.
I think mine was called Big Daddy's something.
Okay. I have to check that out.
You need to go, like, for real.
Okay. That
and then
sounds
we also
good.
had the prime rib gumbo. So gumbo changed up a little bit. Excellent.
Okay. Prime rib gumbo.
Yeah, I had to try it. It was different.
Yeah, very different. Okay. And that was one of my 2 last questions. My last question to you is corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
It's always the corn.
It's the corn, and that's why I have you on the show multiple times, because you are team corn. I love it. Well, thank you very much, Cari, for everything that you are contributing to our educational space, everything you do in education, everything you're doing at the conference, and when you go into full Techie Cari mode, your road show that you do. And I always learn from you every time we have a great discussion like this. This is the first time I think we've actually had it in person, and what a better backdrop than that,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Got the ocean. You're going to be doing some fishing as well. So I wish you the best. Thank you very much. And thank you again for everything that you do.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again.
All right.